Hello, everybody. Tom Sykes, the Royalist here, and I'm happy to say that after a Thanksgiving break, you won't believe who I've got back in the studio. Yes, it's the one, it's the only Paula Froelich at PFro on Instagram. Yay, Paula, how's it going? So I know we're going to get to Harry on Colbert in a minute, but what did you get a chance to settle down and watch Meghan's latest holiday special? I saw you had a great exclusive about her dog being in it. Tell us why that is relevant.
Well, here's the deal. Yes, I did prop my eyes open with some toothpicks and took a couple of swigs of coffee, turned it on, and I was like, oh, God, here we go again. And, the dog is significant because it means that Meghan filmed this last year. And it means that she filmed all of her shows at once. The first season, the second season, as well as this one, because I don't think Netflix had any confidence that this show was going to be a runaway success and that they would drop more money on filming because it was already a hugely expensive show to film. They not only hired Anthony Bourdain's director, they hired an entire new house because God forbid she should show anyone her actual house. And they also hired extras, the beekeeper, because she really hates bees and honeys. And so she needed someone else to do that. And they hired celebrities to come in who are her wink friends. So it was a lot. It was really expensive. And I think Netflix was like, we're not dropping another dime unless this is a runaway hit and we have to. And it was not a runaway hit. They didn't have to, and they need to get rid of what they filmed.
So it was very interesting you say that, because what I noticed about the inclusion of the dog was that there was no narrative impetus to keep this clip of the dog in there. Like, it wasn't like they were making dog treats or they were making dog jumpers or anything like that. It was just this random clip of the dog. And it seemed to me like it was a very deliberate timestamp. It was a very deliberate way of Netflix saying, perhaps their investors, I'm not sure so much the viewers, I'm not sure anyone outside of a few select people really keeps track of, Meghan's pets, but it seemed to me that something they could point to investors or insiders in the company who are going, what the hell is going on here? Why are we spending more money on this? They could go, look, you can see from the fact that the dog is in there that this was just a bit of content that we grabbed last year. We've just repackaged it. We've put some new Jingle Bells music on it. And this holiday special, which Meghan has touted as evidence of her strong, productive, ongoing relationship with Netflix.
And that they love her so much.
Exactly, that they love her so much that they've made a holiday special. Well, it allows them just to say, well, no, actually, it's not. And you can see that because the dog's in it. I mean, you wouldn't leave the dog in, right? It would be an incredible mistake to leave the dog in by mistake.
Hold on. I think they left it in because it actually humanizes her weirdness. Having a dog love you and bite your leg, it's great. And, Harry has a dog. He's got a black lab, but he's gone on record saying, I don't even want my dog photographed. So Harry's dog is not allowed to be anywhere. Meghan's dog, of course, is. Meghan's dog is now dead. Pour one out. But, I think they left it in because they were like, oh, it's cute and people like dogs and they don't like Meghan. So maybe they'll think that dogs like Meghan, so they'll like Meghan. Something bizarre like that.
Now, Paula, there's an amazing phrase in the British televisual lexicon, which I've been told actually is in the American TV lexicon as well, which is that you can't polish a turd, but you can roll it in glitter. Have you ever heard this phrase?
Yes, I have.
Yeah. I mean, that is the foundational principle of With Love, Meghan Holiday Special, isn't it? I mean, it's glitter. Let's just cover everything in glitter and hope nobody notices.
Can we just go through? So I pulled this up for everyone because I, usually, even with Love, Meghan, the series 1 wink and 2 wink, even those had some people saying, oh, I kind of like, no. This special wink was so roundly hated. I just have to read some of this out. You've got people calling it out of touch, tectonically tacky. It's amazing. Washington Post critic Monica Hess was particularly dismissive and said Meghan is experimenting with aggressive hospitality. It's mildly hilarious. She wrote that the Duchess's Netflix show is, quote, not exactly the future that she imagined because her repatriated future would have been unimaginable to anyone. And no matter how genuinely Meghan tries to come across on screen, I felt irritable towards her, which, thank you, Monica, because me too.
Yes, so basically, Harry, who hasn't been in this show for the whole of episode 1, actually, did he?
No. He showed up. Episode 1, there was a little mini appearance.
Yeah.
Episode the second season,
nada.
nothing.
Yeah. And then here he is, like a sort of algorithmic play to keep you watching to the end, appearing in the final one. He turns up and says, basically, she first of all says, thanks for coming, which is a super weird thing to say to your husband when he shows up at your set. And then
thanks for coming.
Basically he says that he hates her cooking.
It's all good. Thank you for coming. Amazing.
I'm dreaming.
I'm not so sure it's as good as your mum's, but it's certainly close.
Wow.
What?
It's and Christmas gumbo. Yeah, it's God bless. She's like, I like your mom's better. On air, and they keep it in. But to me, that wasn't even the most egregious part. It just felt like she was talking down to me the whole time. And this is how you hang ornaments to catch the light. This is how you pack a present and spend, I don't know, 50 minutes packing one present. Girl, no. In my family, you're lucky if it's wrapped in aluminum foil and might have a bow on it. There you go. Take it. I know it's just going to end in the trash anyway.
I really, really liked the bit because I've always never really understood it, where she explained that the concept of an advent calendar is that you get something to open on every day that counts down to Christmas. I was like, oh wow. Like
and by the way, what her kids get are little notes. And maybe something. And I'm like, you know what? If that advent calendar don't have no chocolate in it, I am not here for it. Like, those kids are going to be going to school and being like, hi, would you like to share your chocolate with me? I can trade some nuts for it. Like, yeah, no, keep your nuts, buddy.
Hey, here's my note from my mum saying I'm brave because I want a jam boiling. I think what's sort of also really funny.
To be fair, in her house, that probably is brave because she's using the tools all wrong.
What I find sort of funny also about the whole show, right, is that there's this endless effort to show by Meghan that she's really relaxed, but then she's like super over preparing, and all the guests keep going, God, there's nothing worse than a really stressed out hostess. There's nothing worse, and she has to go, yeah. And then Naomi Osaka comes on, who's like a famously introverted person. I mean, imagine if inviting someone who's well known for being introverted, who you've never met before. And she just looks like, sort of looks around like, where's the paycheck?
Are you kidding?
Here? Who set this up?
Naomi Osaka looked like Ayn Rand before she stuck her head in the oven. I was like, wow, this girl is miserable. Get her out of here. And then when they're painting plates, she's like, I'd rather have a stick in my eye. Hello.
Can I say that actually Naomi Osaka was actually my favorite part of the whole show because she just exposes the whole thing for being so ridiculous. When she does a brilliant bit, right? Where Meghan goes, it's really nice when your friends arrive to give them a little thing to eat. Yeah. And she makes, and I kid you not, she makes a wreath
out of broccoli. And I love Naomi Osaka because she's just like, this is not remedial.
And laugh. She laughed in her face. And Meghan, to be fair, has the good grace to look quite embarrassed at her broccoli wreath. And then
it's kind of like treating Naomi Osaka like a remedial kindergartner. And this is how we make a wreath from something green. And you can eat it. I mean, wow. I was like, wow, you are patronizing AF. This is insanity. But I also love when the restaurateur is like, the best party is when you forget, like, you forget what you're having it for, and you just have fun and you forget everything. And Megan's like, but I can't, I did everything, I'm like,
and also the other amazing, but what's really weird, so like there's always this effort, like, and I think there's always been this criticism of Meghan, that she's sort of totally earnest, right? That she's far too earnest, and that everything's really earnest, whether it's a banana in your lunchbox or it's like, the end of the world or whatever. Everything is treated with this same level of earnestness. And it seems to me that, like, when Harry comes in and they have this like jokey exchange about like how terrible her cooking is, it's like she's trying to fight back against that sense of being really earnest. But the whole thing is so earnest. Like the Christmas crackers, where the guy says something like, she says, oh, Christmas crackers always have something sweet in them, right? Which is complete nonsense. They don't have sweets in them. But do you know what? That's her truth, and bad luck. If you don't believe it, you're denigrating her. Right? So, okay. Right, so they have something sweet in it. B, they're pulled at the beginning of the meal. Well, they're not. They're pulled at the end of the meal. And like, and then he goes, wow, I think that's such a great idea to have some really orchestrated, intentional fun at the beginning of the meal that reinforces the sense of community. And you're just like, yeah, you guys are made for each other, because you both have like no sense of humor at all. It's like
none.
Christmas, man.
None.
Like,
oh no,
Granny's drunk in the armchair. The kids are ripping up all the presents. Johnny's giving Billy a black eye. Like, that's Christmas. Not like going to the crafting barn.
Listen, she has a sense of humor. Remember when she laughed at that model tripping on the Balenciaga runway? It's just perverse. It's not even perverse in a fun way. It's kind of mean humor. But I hear what you're saying on the earnestness. Everything is just so aggressive. It's aggressive hospitality. It's aggressive earnest. And she wants to point everything out. Like, look, I'm ushering you into my home barefoot. I'm barefoot because I'm an earth mother and I'm real and I'm authentic. She has to point everything out. You're just like, this is insanity. And also, enough, leave me alone. And she also just debuted 3 new chocolates today. It's like, now there's going to be debuting something every day. Why doesn't she put her chocolate in those dang advent calendars? That's all her kids really want. I'll tell you what. They don't want no chicken egg. They don't want no feather and love note. They want a bar of chocolate. Give them what they want.
They do, Paula. They do. That is exactly what they want. Poor children. Anyway, my goodness. But so anyway, well, there we are. I think that's the end of With Love, Meghan, sadly. I don't think there'll be any more episodes for us to ridicule and mock. I think that is definitely the end. And I think Netflix has made it very clear it's the end with their inclusion of poor old deceased guy. Yeah, he was the tell. I think that Netflix have had enough of With Love, Meghan. And in fact, she actually said herself, didn't she, at the Fortune Summit, she said that she had this really great idea to turn it into 2-minute reels on TikTok. It's like, yeah, I'm sure that's exactly what
it came out of this brain hole. Yeah, out of this brain hole right here, Tom. I know. People now want shorter stuff.
Anyway,
so I'm going to give it to you short. Boil everything in a pot and throw in cheese and everything. And 5 minutes later, voila.
I'm going to give you one tip. With Love Tom, because I am actually cooking Christmas lunch for 33 people this Christmas. And I'm going to give you one tip, which is to brine your turkey. Soak your turkey in a big tub full of salty water, and it'll make it absolutely delicious. That's all you need to know. Do you do the deep frying?
My with love, Paula, is just going to be, who wants some scotch and a gummy? For dinner, we have a gummy. For drinks, we have scotch. And for entertainment, oh, look, Meghan Markle.
Oh, look, more scotch.
A scotch, a gummy, and possibly, for the munchies later, some chips.
Do you not deep fry the turkey? Are you into deep frying the turkey? Is that actually a real thing?
Oh, yeah, it's delicious. My sister's husband's family deep fried the turkey. It's amazing. It's messy as hell, though.
Have they burnt down any of their houses or not?
No, not yet.
No,
not yet.
That's good.
Don't worry, there's still time. They're young,
Well,
and they've got young children. So who knows? Anything can happen next year.
now, Paula, typically, correct me if I'm wrong, right? But typically, when you have a new show out, right, you try and do something around it that is called promotional events. And typically, if you're a big star, I understand this can involve appearing on one of America's very, very unfunny late night comedy shows, which are all terribly unfunny. But I don't know why. It's a bit like in England, we have a thing called Radio 4 comedy. There's nothing less funny than a Radio 4 comedy. I feel rather the same way about American late night comedy. Although there are moments, to be fair, in late night comedy that are funny. However,
but the good moments show up on YouTube the next day.
Yeah. Typically, right, that's what you do. You go and appear on a late night show. Typically, what doesn't happen is that your husband goes and appears on a show and starts taking pot shots at Donald Trump. And really, no, right? Am I wrong? Am I wrong? Am I right? Am I missing something? Why was Harry on the show yesterday, not Meghan? I don't understand.
You are spot on. Number one, I'm hearing people don't really want her on the show because guess who does not rate? Meghan. And Harry still has a chance of rating. You know, he's off his big high talking at a real estate business conference in Ontario where the place wasn't full. But he decided to go on his friend Stephen Colbert's show. Friend my tush. I mean, how would they be friends? Nobody lives in California, whatnot. And he goes on, he starts rambling on, and you're like, yo, dude, number one, I don't think you're still in the country that legally right yet. I don't see no passport. I don't see no green card. Number two, and it's not the right time to be talking about that. Number two.
So just to tell you exactly what Paula, sorry, Paula, 1 second, just to be clear, what Harry actually said. So he goes on the Colbert show and he starts talking about they're doing this joke about how he's going to be the Hallmark prince. And then he says, oh, well, you like the monarchy. You're obsessed by the monarchs because you've got an elected king, right? Which is clearly talking about Trump. And then he mocks the TV networks for settling baseless lawsuits. So very clearly criticism of Trump, of the Trump administration, at a time when the Trump administration is reportedly canceling visas for people who criticize conservative influencers, at a time when America is deeply polarized by the fear of, you know, creeping authoritarianism on one side and people saying it's just Trump derangement syndrome on the other. It seemed like an odd thing for a punchline, right?
Well, it's just weird. It's also weird too because his wife is trying to be the queen of trad wives. And traditionally, trad wives are Republican. And he literally just was like, hey, all Republicans, go to them all. So, you know, it's just kind of, it was tone deaf. It was dumb. Also, if you need money, and they do, why are you smacking about networks right now? Because you're going to need some Paramount cash. You know, I don't know if Amazon's all that into you. And Netflix ain't that into you. You know, you can go down the line, but everyone's seen the numbers and they've seen the product and they're all like, we don't think so. You know, don't bite the hand that feeds you right now. But also, enough already. Americans don't want to hear from some ginger prince about his thoughts on he can't even vote, man. Leave it alone.
And it's weird, isn't it? Because he got into trouble on this before, talking about how the First Amendment was bonkers and stuff. And it's just like, why would you think this is a good idea to go on? And also, like, you're the king's son, dude. There's like a state visit next year, you know, like what's going on? It's just that I do think, like, so basically what his friends were telling me today was that he did the show out of affection for Colbert, which again is super weird, super aggressive choice, because the royals cannot stand Colbert because he trolled Catherine about her illness. He repeated the affairs about the rumors about William having an affair, the unfounded rumors, I hasten to add, about William having an affair. And you know, they say, oh, well, Harry should be free to speak his mind. He's not part of, he's left the institution. He's not a working royal, blah, blah. My argument, Paula, right? If he were truly living as Harry Wales or Harry Mountbatten Windsor, which, to be honest, any other peer who had any self-respect would not use their title in a republic, that argument would hold water, but he isn't Harry Wells. He's Prince Harry. 25 times they say the word prince in that clip. He goes on and on about how he's a prince. In that clip, he's talking about it. And in the global, right, people like you and me, we understand, right, the nuance of it. But in the global imagination, he's a representative of the monarchy. A global audience does not grasp the fine detail that Harry isn't part of the family business, you know. And what really, really just confuses me so much about why he would think this is a good idea is that he didn't have anything to sell. He didn't promote his wife's new episodes. He didn't advocate for any charity or any cause. He didn't do any fundraising for anything. As far as I can tell anyway, there was nothing about anything to do with that. At the same time as Meghan's dad is being carted off to hospital in the Philippines.
Oh, I
mean,
can't with that. I can't. In a show that's all about, or a couple that's all about compassion and kindness, her dad, who she lived with in high school and paid for her college, and he made some stupid mistakes. They were not unkind mistakes, though. They were not mean and nasty. He's now suffered a massive health issue in the Philippines, the only place he can afford to live right now, and is in ICU, may not survive. And they're acting like, look at us, bye. It leaves a really nasty taste in your mouth. You know, it's just like, I get it. I get why you don't talk to your half sister. Okay, cool. Or your half brother. Your dad, though? Wow, what a vengeful person she is. It hurts your heart. Like, my mom's in the hospital right now. Have I always gotten along with my mother? No, but she is my mother. She raised me, and I will take care of her when she needs it, if she needs it, which she does now. But you just think, wow, that's your dad. He actually raised you and paid for your education and got you introductions into the industry in which you wanted to be in. But because he spoke to the tabloids, you're never going to talk to him again? No offense. You know what People magazine is? You know what writing a tell-all book is? Do you know what having Omid Scobie as your mouthpiece is? That's being pretty damn tabloid. So it's the hypocrisy, and it's just nasty, dude. Like, I don't know. I'm not down with that.
It's like, also, like, it's like the thing that she's really annoyed with him about is he staged a photograph for the paparazzi. It's like,
she has also staged photographs over and over. Remember those hiking photos up in the middle of nowhere, and there just happened to be a friendly photographer around? She's doing everything she claimed he did, except for she has guidance. Might not be the best guidance, but has some PR people or had palace guidance. He had no one.
Yeah, he was very naive.
I just think
he was very naive. He was reckless, and he played into the hands of people who wanted to manipulate him. Some as a convenient pawn. There was certainly a big thing in the UK papers at the time to sort of make out that she came from this terrible, trashy family, and he totally, you know, he was a very convenient kind of Trojan horse to kind of make that point, and he fell into the trap, locked up, and he was greedy, and he wanted the money, and he took the money, and he apparently still gets the money.
Meghan was worth $5 million and did nothing to help the man who helped raise her.
And the thing that's so weird about it, Paula,
literally needed the money.
And the thing that's so weird about it, Paula, as well, I think, is that it's like, also, like, whatever personal, whatever, yeah, I would sort of tend to agree with you, but just from a like strategic point of view, the idea that you are going to set yourself up as an icon of global compassion, that you're going to berate your husband's family for not reconciling with him because, you know, he's done various things. Yeah. But you can't see that it exposes you as like a massive hypocrite. Your own father, who, may well, I don't know, he may well be the nicest guy in the world. He may well be a very difficult guy. I don't know. Like I've seen his interviews, and I thought I certainly wouldn't say that he's, you know, winner of Father of the Year award, but like at the same time, like the strategic side of it, like, you know, like she's there making Christmas tree ornaments that honor your family history. Like, what? You know, it's just, I just wonder, and I think even those people who are sympathetic to her and say, look, you know, if you have a toxic person in your life, the best thing you can do is cut them out and remove them. Like, I do understand that. I totally understand that. And I understand there's people, you know, I'm sure there's plenty of people watching this who aren't in contact with their parents and can't be in contact with them because they've done awful things or what have you, or they didn't, you know, they find they upset their, whatever it may be. Of course, I understand that. But they're not trying to make a global brand out of being a nice person.
Yeah.
Right.
Right. And also, I don't think he is. He might not be the sharpest knife in the drawer. He might not be the guy that you want to bring to a fancy dinner or a fancy wedding, but still your dad. I don't care. He still raised you. You still lived with him in formative years because for some reason you couldn't live with your mother, who you now say is the saint. And I mean, I don't know of any woman who would allow her teenage daughter to go live with their father instead of them. You know, so something went on there. But at the same time, you're just like, it's not cool, man. Like, he clearly loves you. And why hasn't he met his grandchildren? Why are you not even reaching out and offering to pay for hospital bills, for Christ's sake? This whole thing really upsets me. I'm really annoyed by it. And by her, like, it literally, I think it just shows the biggest cracks in who she is. It's like, if you're useful and you're good, you are in her life. The second you're not useful, the second you embarrass her, you're out, and it's an aggressive out. You know, so
I totally agree, Paula. And I think that
there's no forgiveness. There's no, you know, like Harry's father is the head of the Church of England, which preaches forgiveness. And where's your forgiveness?
Yeah. And you would have thought, just on a strategic move, it would be sensible to send $50,000 towards his hospital treatment.
Thank you. Exactly. It's just, it gobsmacks me. It does. And I'm kind of done with them. Like, I'm like, wow, I'm done with them, except for I'm not. In the way that everything they do, I'm like, just grab the popcorn. What else are these fools doing now? It's literally the fools, you know, like, what's the ginger fool doing now? Oh, but what's the lady fool doing? You know, because everything is just so bad. Why was he on Colbert? It's like, hello, I deigned to show up on Colbert to talk about nothing and basically do an ad for Hallmark, even though Hallmark hasn't called me or my wife yet. It's so weird. Like,
and there was a very interesting contrast when you look at what could have been the present reality for Meghan and Harry. There was a really interesting contrast that Catherine and William were hosting a state visit for the president of Germany. Catherine looking absolutely amazing and like incredible, like sparkly Jenny Packham gown. William looking incredible with all his military medals pinned all over him. Fabulous Christmas tree at Frogmore House. You know, everybody looking amazing. There's Queen Victoria's Oriental circlet tiara, earrings that once belonged to the late Queen. You know, all that careful accretion of history that the Windsors love to do with their jewelry and their costume. The King looking a bit unsteady on his feet, it has to be said, looking a bit older, as he does every day, but, you know, gamely carrying on, giving his speech and making his sort of bad dad jokes about football and Germany and all, nobody laughing and trying to laugh and all of that. And you just look at that and you just think, these guys, you know, they were just so impatient. They were so impatient. And, you know, just complained about their accommodation. Oh, our house was too small and Meghan had to buy a sofa on sofa.com. And this,
I mean, no offense, it's a free house in London. It's a gorgeous house. Leave it alone. But it's also, you know what? Not only, it's not even that they were impatient. They were just demanding. They're both spoiled little brats. Like, I've taken to calling them the ankle biters, right? It's like, so Kate, Catherine and William are off doing something, and then they're like, back to us, ankle bite, ankle bite, ankle bite. And it's never a full, it's never up here. It's all low. Back to me, look at me. It's just like, knock it off, you little mosquitoes.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just, ugh,
There was another really interesting thing. Tell me what you think about this. But I think that at that dinner, I think there was definitely, and I noticed it also actually at the Trump state dinner, there's definitely a positioning now, isn't there, of William and Catherine for the change of reign? Don't you feel like it's just becoming, it's starting to come forward? I wonder whether next year there's going to be a bit of briefing to the Royal Rota about it being a co-monarchy and William making more decisions. And I wonder whether he really will, those strategic decisions will start to be rooted through him. And don't forget, there is precedent for this, because in the last 7 or 8 years of the Queen's reign, Charles was effectively co-monarch with Queen Elizabeth. He got rid of her private secretary, who was called Christopher Geit, and he became a kind of co-monarch. So, and I did also notice that William and Catherine issued an official portrait, which is a picture of them in Frogmore House, not to be confused with Frogmore Cottage, by the way.
Although I will tell you why I don't know that if that's going to happen. And I think William is not going to do anything with his dad until Andrew is out of Royal Lodge, which isn't going to happen until October next year. Because I think William doesn't want to touch that crown until the trash has been taken out. And Andrew ain't going anywhere till October. Unless, of course, Charles does something magical, which he won't. And, I think William wants a clean monarchy when he steps in. And I don't think he wants to do anything with Charles right now, because Charles is just seen as so weak and so inefficient. And we are about to get a lot more Epstein stuff. A lot more. There's a bunch of lawsuits going on right now regarding Virginia Giuffre, and the judge in Australia has said those lawsuits can go on even though she is dead. And there's a bunch of stuff she said that has yet to be unsealed about Andrew and his exact abuse of her and exactly what happened. And I think, the problem for Charles is it's not a drip, drip, drip. Next year, it's going to be a gush, gush, gush. And it's all going to look really bad. Andrew and Sarah are still flailing around, threatening to write books. Although if they write books, the palace will bury them with all the dossiers they have on them. But it's still just like, man, William, I think, is, as you first reported, downright pissed at Charles. Has a right to be, because right now he's like, no, we're the next generation. This is about my immediate family right now, Dad. Hold on. And you're not cleaning up the plate. You're just kind of, it's like when you got a little bit of food left and you throw it under the table for the dog and you put your plate back up. It ain't that clean. It's got dog vomit all over it.
Yeah. No, I think that's a good point. And this thing about Andrew sort of squatting on in Royal Lodge until October next year, you may remember when this big announcement was made in October this year, the briefing notes that the palace sent out to the Royal Rota said that he would move out as soon as is practicable. And instantly everyone was right. One moment he was already gone at one stage. Then it was, oh, he's not going to move till after Christmas, because it would be awkward for the rest of the royal family if he was there at Christmas. I'm like, well, what about Christmas 2026? If that's the reason, he shouldn't be moving to Sandringham.
How about Easter?
So it was clearly nonsense. And now it turns out that actually he's given 12 months notice to move out and he can stay there. And, the palace continues to peddle this fantasy that Andrew is effectively gone, that he's
going to be gone. He's still Vice Admiral of the Royal Navy. What the hell is that about? And they're saying, oh, his titles are gone. You're like, no, they're not. It's a Vice Admiral of the Royal Navy. And then they say, oh, well, that's going to take some time because we have to do all these steps. But that's also the same baloney they said about getting rid of his Duke title and his Prince title. we have to go to Parliament. No, you don't. You just signed a piece of paper. Get rid of him.
Yeah. And I think that the anger with which the British public are going to respond to Andrew still being in that house after Charles has made such a big thing about it, it's no laughing matter. It's a serious threat to Charles because it makes him look foolish and it makes him look gullible. And there is a massive question, bluntly, about what happens if Charles dies before October. I mean, that is a real question. You know, does anyone really imagine that in the chaos of a new reign, if William trying to sort everything out, you know, he's going to be ringing up and checking on the removal vans? I mean, it's just like this idea. There's nothing visible. This idea that he's going to move out. You know, he actually is staying there. And I was slightly confused, wondering how is he able to still be in there, issuing these demands, reading out these demands for what he wants. And now we know, because basically the thing he's got over him is every week that Andrew is still there is a complete humiliation for the king. It's a complete testament to the lack of his own force of his own personality. And, you know, somebody said to me on my Substack, Paula, they said, well, what would you have the king do? You know, he has to obey the laws of the land. And I'm like, yeah, he does have to obey the laws of the land, but he's also the king of England. And he should be able, through the force of his personality, to get his brother to do what he wants. And I do think that, you know, when Diana kind of said he wasn't temperamentally suited to be king, I think that's kind of what she meant. You know, he's great at hosting parties for shamans in the garden at Highgrove House. But like, where's the steel? This famous steel that we were told had suddenly emerged. I don't see any evidence of it at all, and I don't think people see any evidence of it. And look around the country in England now. Anybody who lives in a street named Prince Andrew anything is taken to spraying out the prince on the name.
Well, the other issue is, Tom, some people are saying, well, Andrew's broke, he's got no money. No, that's not true. Andrew is worth many, many, many millions. He has made millions over the years, whether it's suitcases full of cash or jewelry or whatever. And they say, oh, well, he's a spendthrift like his wife. Great. But they don't spend their own money. They blag rides off of other people's jets. They stay for free in people like Epstein's house. I have an item coming out tomorrow that a dog walker on Epstein Street saw Sarah Ferguson coming out of his house in 2014 because, you know, she likes a fancy, nice place to stay. So they all were in contact with Epstein after. And why did they do it? They did it for the money, the freebies, the stuff. They have millions. They don't spend it.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, another week of exciting, action-packed royal news for all of us. Brilliant to have Paula here at PFro on Instagram. Please remember to like and subscribe. The deal is really simple. We'll keep doing this for free as long as you guys keep subscribing. Okay, that's what we want to tell you. So that's the deal. Please please subscribe. If you've enjoyed it, please share with your friends, share with your pals, we will be back next week. Will we, Paula? Is next week? I think we will try and be back next week, right? Bye.